Alright, what's happening? This is the Path of Exile 2 addressing your early access post-launch feedback. A lot of feedback has been going around, you know? Some encouraging more action from GGG in the positive direction. A lot of it, you know, in the other direction as well. So, kind of want to see what's happening here. Hi everyone, the launch weekend has been a blast. We've really enjoyed seeing all of you get your hands on the game and finally try out the project we have been working on for so long. It has been a really long time. Now that the launch weekend is over, it's time for us to look at the feedback and make some changes. I love this. I mean, the launch weekend is over, by the way. Let's introduce probably more changes than Diablo 4 sees in 6 months. Okay, yeah. Thank you. Launch weekend is over. Time to go to work. Lots more things coming. The list of this, the list in this post are some of the things we felt needed to be more urgently addressed. And to be fair, they've also been like buffing, nerfing, changing, improving, and everything the whole time, right? There's been a ton of hot fixes, changes, and whatever throughout the weekend as well. So it's not like they're waiting to do this stuff. They're releasing it as soon as something is ready that they feel is appropriate. Some of these changes have already been deployed without a realm restart. Others will be deployed in an upcoming patch. Dodge roll changes. A lot of players have expressed frustration about being trapped in by monsters. It was intended that monsters are able to trap and kill you, but the frequency of this was a little too high. We will be deploying the following changes in an upcoming patch. Player size is now set to 0 units while dodge rolling instead of 1 unit. Some smaller monsters can now be pushed while dodge rolling. This was a thing that was happening at ExileCon. I don't know why they got rid of this entirely. This includes monsters such as adorned beetles in Keth. Okay, yeah. It's where the beetles come out, like in Mummy 2, and they get under your skin and you die, except they surround you and you're dead. This is a pretty notorious zone. This should result in getting trapped less often. Note that you can still be trapped. A player's size of 0 can still not phase through monsters, but it can get through even smallest gap between them. I don't know if this is going to improve anything, to be honest. I think they're eventually going to give up on this and be like, yo, we're just going to add phasing when you're rolling. Because, like, when you think about it for the combat, it is kind of stupid. But, like, you could look at it as you're, you know, rolling in between the legs of mobs or jumping over them if you're using one of those type of thing. But there is a really large cost to rolling that people don't talk about, right? Like whenever I'm seeing rip clips for people playing on hardcore, or whenever I'm seeing people who say things like, I died 50 times on this piece of content or whatever, it typically is the same thing. It's people way overusing their dodge roll. Generally using it as not a form of a speed burst to dodge out of a mechanic, but a form of like mobility, or even like an you know, when people go when they're trying to talk about something, that's what people use for dodge roll. So whenever they're confused, they're not sure what's happening in the fight, they don't know which buttons to click, they just start dodge rolling. And I mean, that comes at a really high cost. Whenever I see noobs in my chat, they're always saying things like, why don't you dodge roll more? Well, it's because if I have the decision between dodge rolling and shooting the thing, I'm gonna shoot the thing. I'm only dodge rolling when I really need to. So I'm rolling out of a boss mechanic that I reacted to poorly. Maybe it's a boss mechanic that I need invulnerability frames on, like the one on Viper that ended up killing me because I didn't know about it, and then I didn't dodge roll, and guess what? I died. For those situations, dodge rolling is appropriate. But otherwise, yeah, just shoot the thing. So I don't know if this is going to accomplish what they wanted to accomplish. I think for certain zones, like this one especially, they might just need to, you know, nerfify, but just nerfify the density. But we'll see, we'll see. I mean, it was already pretty easy. If there was like a tiny gap, like it was pretty easy to dodge roll out of there. You couldn't walk out, there's no way. But dodge rolling, yeah. But I mean, for the people that are really struggling with this stuff, I think they're getting surrounded no matter what. I've definitely been enjoying the pacing of the game more and more the more I play. And I still think that probably adding maybe phasing that's on cooldown or something like that would be nice, you know? We shall see. Checkpoint changes. A lot of players have been reporting that it can be tedious to need to retread areas of maps in order to get back to objectives that they already found. With deploying the following change in the upcoming patch, clicking on a checkpoint will allow you to teleport to other checkpoints in the area that are explored on your mini-map. Whoa, like a mini waypoint? Checkpoints have been added to all entrances and exits to zones to allow for teleportation. A checkpoint has been added to the midpoint of the first Dreadnought area. We will be making further adjustments to checkpoint positions. I mean, honestly, I know that this isn't something that they can do in an early access because they kind of have to stretch out the content because it's, you know, people need to be a certain level when they reach certain breakpoints in the game. So rebalancing all of this is going to be very difficult. I do think they're going to make areas smaller overall, you know, because some of these zones are crazy, you know, they are insane. Item changes. One of the major problems that players have been experiencing. Oh, and also fix the map. You know, if people want to check out, teleport around with checkpoints, the whole waiting 5 seconds for the map to load every time, and God forbid you click the M button for map like in any normal game, and it opens the MTX tab, and now you're like hard stuck on a 10-second black screen, only then to realize, oh no, I'm supposed to click U instead, which I don't know, maybe I should have keybound changed years ago because it's always a mess whenever I play other games. And then you're also waiting for the U to load up. Like, that stuff feels especially bad. It's like, oh man, should I wait for the checkpoint or should I just run? Item changes. One of the major problems that players have been experiencing is feeling that the game is not rewarding enough. This is an area that we have been very careful when adjusting because it's very hard to reduce drops if we increase them too much. Yeah. And I mean, for sure, everybody's been feeling that they've been improving drops, especially in like the first act. I feel like I'm dropping so much more in the first act than like anywhere else. I know that people are farming in Act 1 Cruel because it seems like that's the only act that got improved drops, but hey. We have identified a few key areas that we believe will significantly improve the experience that players are having. Yeah, this is great. I mean, expected, and it's one of those things where, yeah, they are very right on how you just can't nerf, you know, and how terrible it feels. I mean, in PoE1, a nerf that everybody's always felt is the nerf to humility cards in Blood Aqueducts. And every time that it became like more and more popular, GGG would clearly nerf the drops, and it would be a stealth nerf, and everybody would feel it, and everybody would yap about it, but then nobody could point to anything that actually supported it, and eventually people stopped doing that altogether. I mean, the game changed a lot too, but the idea of farming out a tabula in Blood Aqueducts, you know, used to be possible in 20-30 minutes. Now we're talking about hours. There's just no way. So if something so stupid can be talked about so much later, then yeah, I mean, for an entire game, this would be huge. Rare monster changes. We felt that rare monsters were not rewarding enough. Hell yeah. Okay, this one's real good. This doesn't affect the campaign as much because there are more unique bosses, increasing the overall amount of drops, but especially noticeable when playing in endgame, where unique monsters are less common. In particular, the reward you were getting for increased difficulty of rares wasn't lining up. We've deployed the following changes. Rarity bonuses per rare mod has been doubled. Plus 10% quantity bonus per rare mod. Increase the chance of rare monsters inherently having more modifiers as you progress through endgame. Uh-oh. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but the rare monsters being copy-pasted from PoE1 is kind of an issue for me. Like, some of these mods are insane. Some of these mods have not been tweaked around enough. And there's a lot of situations where if your build isn't one of the OP ones, you're going to be struggling. It's like they introduced Arch Nemesis to fix issues with Path of Exile 1, but now you're releasing a completely new game that's meant to be played around like the slower gameplay, but then you're using the modifiers that were fixing PoE 1 where everybody was overpowered. And you really feel it sometimes on rare monsters. So maybe making it so that they're having even more modifiers now. I don't know. I mean, they're saying that this wasn't felt much in the campaign, so I would imagine this also isn't going to apply as much to the campaign. Even if it's implemented, I'm not even sure if it's going to be in the campaign. But that might be even more tricky for certain characters, you know? These changes will cause rare monster rewards to naturally scale up as you get higher levels, because the number of mods on a monster can have increases throughout the campaign and into endgame. Okay, so it will be campaign too. In addition, many other forms of map juicing will indirectly cause rare monsters to have more mods as well, increasing the rewards of those mechanics too. Also, note the changes below to make sure each map has a minimum number of rares, which will also increase the average number of rare mods and thus increasing drops further. Oh, interesting change. Okay. Currency changes. We felt that players were not getting enough certain currency either in the early game or to sustain adding mods to maps. We have deployed the following changes. Regal Orb rates drop around 40%. Increased 40%. Okay, nice. I can get more gold by vendoring items. Disenchanting of 6 mod rares to give to Regal. Share shards instead of 1. Oh, that's cool. That's like the org recipe in PoE1, I guess, but for Regals. Lesser Jeweler Orb drop rate increased around 33%. Oh, snap. Okay, more forlings. Log in. Reduce the drop rate of Chaos Orbs slightly as they are less valued and so that it doesn't consume so much of the rare currency drop pool. This causes currency such as Exalted Orbs to increase somewhat. Very descriptive. Gym Cutter drop rate increased by 500%! Yo, we're re-rolling Spark. I log in. I've gotten 3 GCPs so far. Run just now. Man, that would mean that I would pretty much, on average, have like an almost fully qualityed up gem. That's nuts. Gym Cutter's Prism now increase quality on gems by 5 instead of 1! Dude, I was gonna use all of my GCPs yesterday, brother. I log in. Okay, that is crazy. Yo. Okay, I love that. I mean, I kind of hate it in a way because quality on gems is so strong and it's such a like long-term progression thing, but I guess it's PoE. We have enough of that. I don't know. This is really extreme, to be honest. The more I think about it, the more it's like, whoa, they went really deep with the GCPs. And you can't take it back anymore. So everybody's just got 20 quality gems now. I mean, I guess it's fine. I don't know. That's a lot of power creep, I gotta say. For some builds, I mean, just being able to GCP up your gems is pretty insane. Like, really insane. Like, for instance, for my Sparker that I died on. But if I still had it, like, I was kind of losing my mind because you can make it so that Mana Tempest keeps the buff when you walk out of the cloud. Which is everything, literally, on that build. And yeah, it's a huge amount of power. Makes me want to reroll the build again. That's kind of crazy. Yeah, and Spark gets 4 projectiles too. Huge for Spark for SSF enjoyers. That's me. I'm probably going to do that once I die on my current Crybaby guy. Map mod changes. Like with rares, we felt that the players were not being rewarded enough for the difficulty that was being added by map mods. We have significantly increased the value of all prefix map mods. We've changed all map prefix mods, but some example changes we have deployed are: rarity mods have been increased by 2.5. Quantity mods have had extra rarity added to them. This is now in a later patch. We have removed the bottom tier of some mods. You are much more likely to roll modifiers that affect drops or pack size rather than less useful mods. Okay. No longer ruthless, potentially. In addition, it has been identified that some areas are not being affected by increased number of monster pack mods as they should be. We'll be fixing these maps to work correctly in a latter patch. Unlucky drop protection. Oh, one of the major issues we have identified are outlier unlucky drops. A single unique boss dropping badly, especially early on, can significantly affect your character. Yeah, I was talking about how they should just Make it like on the Chinese realm for PoE1, where you either have like some entropy system or you just crank those numbers up. But then also you have forms of guaranteed drops that, you know, can teach the player to utilize either a piece of currency or some like game mechanic related to some form of itemization. Although in PoE1, there's a lot more forms of itemization than there are in PoE2 with all the gem stuff, you know. We have deployed the following changes. No more than 50% of a unique monster's drop can be gold. No more than 50% of a unique monster's drop can be gold. Act bosses and map bosses will always drop at least one rare. Man, I feel like I've never been in a situation where I didn't get a rare from an act boss. And I'm a real crybaby about this stuff. The first of these changes is more significant than it first appears because players can't see the difference between normal and rare gold piles. True. You will get more equipment and currency items which can take more advantage of rarity increases the unique monsters provide. Okay, I mean, sounds like something that will truly be feelable. Click to move! There was an issue where move only command was name locking. This would often result in your character confusingly attacking in an unexpected direction while holding down this action. Oh! Yeah, this was happening a lot. I mean, there's a lot of really bad name locking. And there's a lot of things that miss name locking too. Oddly enough, when I was playing the mercenary, I was using the armor piercing bolt. It seems like the sort of ability that you would want to name lock with because it's essentially an FPS skill, you know? You're actually having to aim. And it doesn't name lock at all. And it's like, huh. Why? What's happening here? We have deployed the following changes. Move only no longer name locks. Okay, I mean, I don't know how this was a thing even in the first place. I mean, there's still a lot of auto-targeting, so this is still gonna mess with people pretty significantly, but at least Karn will maybe complain a little bit less about how he's jumping backwards constantly. I mean, probably not, quite frankly. Endgame Maps. A concern for players in Endgame Maps is accidentally missing rare monsters. A concern for players in Endgame Maps is accidentally missing rare monsters. Okay. In addition, many maps did not have the number of monsters that they should have had. Number of rare monsters. Okay, they talked about this already. We'll be making the following changes in an upcoming patch. Rare monsters now appear on the minimap where there are 200 monster remaining instead of 50. Whoa! Rare monsters now appear on the minimap when there are 200 monsters remaining instead of 50. That is kind of crazy. Really interesting change. I wonder how this is gonna feel. Or how this would apply to PoE1. I mean, rare monsters were negligible in PoE1, so I guess whatever. That's kind of cool. I don't know. I mean, the thing is too that rare monsters are really hard to see. So I wonder if suddenly you're gonna be like, oh snap, this game actually does have a lot more rare monsters. If you're playing a good build or something that's a little bit more automated. Many maps have had additional rare monsters added to them to make sure that there are a minimum number in every map type. Gotcha. Over the coming weeks, we will be continuing to work on map layouts and monster density issues in maps. Perfect. Conclusion. We'll be posting patch notes for these changes when they're deployed. For a full list of what has been developed, check out these patch notes here. There are a lot more changes to come. These are just some of the changes that are fast for us to make. We will be continuing to monitor feedback and adjusting things as we go. Hi, login. Okay, the Regal drop rate is there. Increased drop rate for GCPs and the 5% is there. Oh my god, I'm so happy I didn't use my GCPs yesterday. Oh, I'm so happy about that. I was so close to. So good. Lower the drop rate of artificers, orbs, and distributed to lesser. Whoa! They didn't talk about this! I mean, just pick up socket items, I guess. Now that you're getting like more shards, I suppose. It's fine. I only bought 40 GCPs yesterday to use them with 1%. GG. Oh wait, no. This was a regal shard change. Wait, so we're just getting less orbs? Okay, I mean, I guess. I mean, that doesn't really even make us like increasing jeweler orbs by 33% doesn't even seem like much at all. Monster modifiers now grant higher amount of item rarity and item quantity. Man, the majority of what they talked about is already in. Some persistent buffs, such as summon raging spirits and mana remnants, we're now working on Infernalist when in demon form. That's even funnier because this was gonna be my starter. This actually wouldn't have worked at all. I mean, half of it ended up being my starter. Okay, I mean, pretty much everything is out. Like, the whole thing. And they're just gonna keep posting. Awesome. I mean, great changes. Really, really good. And really quick, too, which is what PoE really needs right now. So, amazing job. Keep going. Don't stop.